Serious? Former nice guys over it. When and how did you change? Ended up browsing through guys and saw the similarities and results. Immediately focused on my own work for once. Turned 180. I was the worst. Totally, I'm so in love with my best friend. Why is she dating that douche when she can be with me? I think as I got older and saw other guys doing it, it seemed so pathetic and sad that I just kind of snapped out of it. For the record, when I told that girl I loved her, she laughed, and that was the last time we ever saw each other. That might have helped with my transition. Basically, a few years ago, I really liked a girl, and she seemed to like me back. I sort of turned manipulative, but turns out she was just as bad. People always wondered what it would be like if a nice guy and nice girl got together. It's nothing but fighting and guilt. I realized how bad she was and got out of it, but in the process found out I was no good either. I changed quick after that. Watching The Hunchback of Notre Dame, I found myself rooting for Quasimodo through the movie, and when he didn't get with Esmeralda, I was mad, furious. He deserves to be with her, for how noble and brave he has been. He should have her, and she should give him a chance. Then, I don't know why, but something clicked after that thought. Esmeralda clearly was happy with the other guy. I mentally flipped the script, and realized I would not be saying the same if Quasi is handsome and Esmeralda was ugly. I also realized that Judge Frollo was the character who most shared my mindset at the time. He deserves Esmeralda, for he is so pure and good. Frollo being the antagonist caused me to really reconsider my thoughts on relationships, girls, and generally just the way I treated women. That was 10th grade, and while I don't have a girlfriend as a college sophomore, it doesn't bother me like it would have if I had continued down that course. Not much has changed in the 7 months that passed since I made that comment. Still no luck with relationships, but I'm trying to find new ways to improve myself. Most of my friends are girls, and the most advice I've gotten is be yourself. I do fear that I come off as a nice guy at times, since I tend to be polite and compassionate, but I think I am comfortable with who I am. I don't expect a relationship to fall from the sky, nor do I expect anything just for being nice. But when I confide in friends about my frustrations, I worry that I come off as what I once was. And the most advice I've gotten is be yourself. Be yourself, but be the best version of yourself. Take some time to figure out what you're good at, what you love, what your passions are, what you live for, what your purpose is, and take care of yourself. I don't remember what put the thought in my head, or how I came to the conclusion, but my thought was, I want all these women. They don't seem to want me. Maybe I should focus on being the kind of guy they actually want, instead of the one I think they want. I ended up ditching the part where I was bettering myself to get women, and just focused on bettering myself. School, career, hygiene, living situation, and women coincidentally became more interested. Honestly, I grew up a bit. I was tired of always feeling that way, so I decided to grow up a little bit and start making changes to better myself. If everyone ignored me, I must be the common denominator. Right, 3 years later I'm a much happier person, and even my close friends had noticed the changes in my behavior. Nice guys, if you are anything like I was, you're literally making it harder on yourselves. Loved a lot of friends that didn't love me back. Not an obvious nice guy, like I did fine with casual hookups and stuff. But I would get increasingly obsessive and jealous after finally getting close enough to want a relationship. It truly wasn't about the fricking, because we would even hook up from time to time. It's just that I have a lot of fricked up experiences in my past, and a meaningful relationship always felt like the only way I could ever be a whole person. Even as friends, I already needed to feel a lot of control and demanded an unreasonable level commitment. Except to me, it was always leading to an inevitable relationship, one that would be the deepest form of love. Full stop. Every single one of those friendships ended terribly. The last one was the worst, because I was genuinely trying to be a better person this time around, and not make the same mistakes. It took a lot of therapy and thinking inwardly, but I realized that I would have been a terrible boyfriend. I was too wishy-washy about what I wanted, because all I really wanted was to feel like I was in control and didn't have to worry about the other person's loyalty to me. I was basically addicted to a person and then got upset when they wouldn't get addicted to me back. And that is the epitome of nice guy, if you ask me. Kept trying to be better person and more emotionally stable. I'd like to think it's working. Either way, my focus is now entirely on my life passions and I feel strong, despite the vaguely hollow feeling of still not quite getting how normal relationships work. But the difference is, now I can pretty much laugh at it instead of diving face first into a pit of emotional despair. I feel this man, addicted to this girl, to the point of obsessive. That's not love. I'm trying to put a little distance between us and get my head straight. It's hard, all I wanna do is text her or call her, but I know I shouldn't. Day 1 of fixing myself. I was told that if you're a nice guy only to get laid, you aren't really nice and more of a suck-up loser who expects rewards for being a decent human being. There is a point where it kind of clicked that it can't be that it's all the women that are wrong. It followed that I assumed it was me that was wrong, which kind of hurts when you think about it. After a while I realized it at least wasn't 100% of me that was wrong. Maybe some 5% I can identify and work towards. I'm not really looking for a relationship anymore, as I'd rather work on myself for the time being. I feel it would be unfair to myself and the person I'd be with. That last sentence. As much as I want to be in a relationship, I just know that right now I would only take away from their happiness. Stopped when a friend of mine said I was basically guys in a nutshell. After that, it never came off my head and I started to get more quiet and think before saying, though I'm still ashamed of my old nice guy personality. But you've realized your mistake and matured. The fact that you're ashamed means you're growing. If you weren't ashamed or embarrassed by your past self, it would mean you weren't growing. I was always the guy who was flirting with every girl and I was just socially inept. Now I'm socially inept but more respectful and mindful of it. Honestly, I read no more Mr. Nice Guy and joined a NMMNG group. Being a nice guy is really about being dishonest and doing nice things for women or others for the sole purpose of creating an expectation that you will receive something back. Breaking that means not doing those things. If you want to be kind without any expectation that it will be returned. Else, don't do it. You don't have to. When I was 14 I was the typical I need a girlfriend, I don't care who kind of kid. Then I stumbled across Ryan Higo's channel and saw his Forever Alone video, where he makes fun of that crowd. Then he says something along the lines of, if you're watching this channel you're probably top young to be stressing over finding a soulmate, go out and just have fun with your life. I've never had something just click with me quite like that moment. Then when I embraced being single all my friends thought I had low self-esteem and was depressed. I was actually having the time of my life those years. Thank you, Ryan. Kinda just grew out of it when I saw being overly nice wasn't going to get me women's. Apparently talking to them like everyone else and not making a big show of a basic human kindness, lending your jacket to a chilly female friend etc will make most people like you. When you make a big spectacle of yourself about being nice, then people will see right through it. From the start of my junior year of high school to about winter vacation of senior year, I started putting forth my energetic yet surprisingly quiet nature as a personality rather than a design flaw. I started doing things, as opposed to sitting back and avoiding judgment, as if other people's opinions really mattered. Once I was able to find myself, I no longer needed to draw sympathy from everything around me. I also developed opinions, which helped me find an identity and embrace places where I remain neutral and reinforced why I was neutral there. That one specifically helped out a ton with self-confidence. Of course, I still have my days. It sucks, but it never lasts long. Best part is, I still find time to be nice to people, as in actually kind. After all, nice guys are just the empty shells of normal guys, built on shallow reasoning and pandering to the basic needs of people, while lacking the necessary tools to keep anyone truly happy. All of that can be rewritten easily. Still a virgin though, but that stuff takes time. I've barely got a foot into college, as of post-date. Nice guys as just the empty shells of normal guys hit me like a brick in the gut. The height of my nice guyness was when I was working at a movie theater. I never really pressured anyone into giving me a chance, but I was generally friendly with everyone and I never made enemies. Until this one girl. She worked day shift while I worked night, so we hardly ever saw each other. but every time our schedule overlapped, she would make a point to avoid me, never talk to me, and just glare at me when she saw me. Finally, after a few months, I confronted her and asked why she didn't like me. Her response, "Not everyone has to like you," which got me thinking. At first it was a lot of thinking it wasn't fair. She didn't even know me. I wrestled with this mental block for a few weeks, basically going through the 7 stages of grief but with this scenario. Then, when I finally accepted it, I realized that she doesn't have to like me, and I don't have to care either. After that, I got a huge self-esteem boost. What does it matter if someone thinks I'm better off being just friends? That's their opinion, and I don't have to care. I can stay friends and find romance elsewhere. Eventually, I did find my soulmate. We're happily married, have been for 3 years. We've never had what we would call a fight, but a few disagreements did happen. I break my own rule with her, though, because I definitely care what she thinks of me. I don't know whether it was because I had no sisters or not. In high school, I was attracted to most girls. As such, I considered them all potential romantic partners unless I had ruled them out for friendship, bad attitude, or some physical repulsion. This still left plenty of fish. I had major crushes constantly. I was a serial monogamist. The thing was that when I was single and asked out a crush, and they turned me down, I was angry at them. Because what had I done to exclude myself from their dating pool? Shouldn't they give me a chance and see? I followed up 3 times and had to be told 3 times they didn't want to date me because they didn't like me like that. I was casting a wide net and I expected women were doing the same. I had to learn most of them didn't see men the way I saw women, and then I had to change the way I saw women. I got in shape and realized that women were suddenly attracted to me. It wasn't because I was too nice all along while I was overweight, imagining that every time I heard of a girl arguing with her boyfriend I would treat her so much better than that. There was this girl I was into. She was seriously shy and I started to invite her to stuff with my friends and me. She started to smile more and I thought, hey, she smiles more because of me. Technically yes, but not because I was so nice, but because she got to hang out with people, which I realized way later. So she must be into me, so I asked her and she said no. But boy, I was furious. I started actually insulting her and even made her cry over text. That was the first situation where I realized I was not the good guy in this story. I was an egoistical teen. But it first went better after she cut off contact and I started to reflect on what the frick I was doing. I apologized later to her. A year later I dated another girl, but she ended it directly after a month, which led to more reflection and the realization that I just acted up a personality to get people to like me and got mad when that didn't work. While the second girl ended it, she said she was thankful that I wasn't getting mad at her, which kind of shook up my whole world, because I never wanted to be the guy that nobody liked because he was aggressive if he didn't get his way. And after that I mainly grew up and realized on the way that I never even liked the girls but just wanted to have a girlfriend just for the sake of it. I never cared for the person itself. So I started to take a big break and get my crap together. Some years later now I'm mentally stable and found a girl I really care for and who really cares for me. I still feel horribly sorry for all the things I said to the first girl. When I realized that the girls I liked were funny, smart, interesting, kind, and good looking. At the same time, I was nice. That's it. Why would a girl want to be with me when she had so much more offer than me? I changed when I went to university and started working out, joining clubs instead of spending all my free time in my room. Putting an effort into how I dressed was a big one too. I thought it was cool to not care about looks, but I just looked like a slob who wore track pants every day. A lot of guys would get more interest from girls if they put the slightest bit of effort into personal grooming and clothing. In my first or second year of college, a nice girl was interested in me, but I wasn't attracted to her, so I didn't reciprocate. Why was I thinking that just being nice was good enough for the women I was interested in, if it wasn't good enough for me? I'm an ex-hardcore guy. I used to post lots of rants against women. I loathed for how they do not want me and how they prefer buttholes, regardless of appearance. I even envy my best friend, who had a ton of girls chatting him. I was so infuriated that I almost reached incel level behavior, until I watched a YouTube clip from the movie Megamind. The scene is where the superhero, created by Megamind, the character, tried to win his crush by showing him he has superpowers and proclaims he's a good guy, but his crush said no and means it. If any one of you watched Megamind, you know what happens the rest of the movie. Soon YouTube started recommending me videos titled "Why Being Nice is Bad for You." Started watching those. I was flabbergasted. I realized that being nice isn't really nice after all. Then YouTube recommended me Reddit videos. Hence why I'm on Reddit now, lol, of compilations of honest guys. Holy frick. The posts look similar to my previous attitudes, behaviors and my loathsome aggressions. Perhaps if some of my posts were posted on honest guys, it would have been on the top. Anyhow, I began to improve myself, becoming more social, lighten up my inability to accept myself. I read articles on differences of man and woman, watched more YouTube videos of alpha male traits and mindsets, and I realized that I measured my succession by how many girls I want to date. In fact, my best friend who I envied had actually wanted to help me earlier on how to get girls. He then called me out how I was a dipshit, that's why I can't get any girls. I was too stubborn and blinded by my own hatred. So yeah, I'm proud to call myself a former nice guy. I'm proud of you. I realized being a nice guy literally gets you nowhere because girls only think of you as a best friend or a brother. If your goal is to be seen as a potential romantic interest, being nice isn't going to work. I've always cringed at guys being really forward with women or being obviously flirty, but after lurking through life observing people fall in love, I've come to realize that obviousness has a real place in society and there really isn't a subtle way to let someone know you like them. Girls can't read minds. So I've learned to be a bit more forward and honest with my emotions and intentions. I've learned to openly flirt. I've learned to stop being so clingy and needy when girls don't really that from guys they're interested in. And I've learned to be myself. Being yourself is the best thing you can do, which means throwing away the nice guy act and not trying to be a Sonora white knight, because it only convinces you that people owe you respect and attention, which they don't. I'm still not what people would call flirty, but I have learned to make my intentions extremely clear to people. It's made life a heck of a lot easier. I just tried to observe why the women liked all the douchebag type of guys and I realized it's really people who can take care of themselves and they don't like those who are like knight in shining armor types who always put girls before themselves. For me it has been my mental default that I want to help people, sometimes at the cost of my own needs or wants, but when I started taking care of myself, people started to notice. I also stopped expecting something in return whenever I do something for others, especially for girls. Understanding that no one really owes you anything. Finding out that it's easier and cheaper to be kind to yourself. Politeness and respect for everyone, but don't be a doormat. No one is running around trying to put hard dongs down for free, so you don't need to worry about going around trying to put out fires. Putting nice energy into usefulness can get you big wins. It is generally better for men to be useful than to be nice. But it does not mean that you should be a domineering butthole. It is still good to be fair to people. I am still a nice guy, but my mindset changed. I am no longer the nice guy that is expecting a girl to want to frick me because I held the door open for them. Still a pushover. I can't get out of the nice guy mentality and I hate it. Being a nice guy is just creepy. You are essentially being a suck up in the hopes that you might get laid someday. You are a bad faith actor that wants to also claim some sort of moral high ground over normal dudes. That's why chicks disqualify nice guys immediately when looking for people to date. It took some serious introspection and realizations of how relationships work. Society kinda conditions boys into believing that relationships are reciprocal. That if you do something you'll get something in return. Realizing that romantic relationships don't adhere to that totally changed my behavior for the better. It's actually super freeing. I don't think anyone who wasn't a nice guy realizes how much work that mindset is. You reinforce the idea that whoever will like you if you just work a little harder at it, so you keep on doing more and more work and get nothing in return. You either have to change your mindset or you'd go crazy and shoot up a yoga studio or something. The change happened when I was 18 or 19 and it just freed up so much time. Previously, if a girl I like mentioned she was moving or needed stats tutoring or something, I'd be the first one offering to help. After, if it wasn't immediately clear we were vibing, I would just say good luck. Like the things I used to consider being a dong were just normal social responses, and the crap I thought was being nice was just doormat material trying to dishonestly manipulate her emotions. I think a lot of the reason why I was a nice guy in my teens was a lack of a father figure. I never had anyone really explain, from a male point of view, how getting a girl works, so I had to base it off of crap in popular culture. Really, the best thing to tell young guys is that it is okay to be outwardly selfish when it comes romance, because all the people you're trying to get with are, and the alternative is being dishonestly selfish. I found out that I was giving too many fricks. Nice guys give too many fricks. Illegitimate fricks, like, does she like my hair or will she hate that I'm balding? The nice guys go in with the impression that their date should have the same passion about what the nice guy feels passionate about. The nice guy thinks that being chivalrous is enough to bed a woman. The nice guy has been deluded. Somewhere, somehow, along the way, he can't be blamed, but he can be changed. Nice guys give too many fricks, just not the kind of frick they want. Don't make a point to be a nice guy, and don't make a point to be a jerk. Just be confident, and carry yourself with pride, all while avoiding getting too full of yourself. There is a world of a difference in a confident guy and a douchebag. Also, girls love a guy with crooked teeth, a bad laugh, and other flaws if you can learn to be proud of them yourself. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.